Hello, everyone. Welcome to Harley on the Headlines. I am Harley Carnes. There is a new Gallup poll on how much you trust what you see and hear from the news media. No surprises in it, really. Republicans don't trust the legacy media at all, about 8%. Democrats like it a lot more, 51%, though that ties the lowest number ever. Only 27% of independents trust the media. Overall, it is the lowest confidence in the news media ever in America. And young people's trust is the lowest of all. Put it another way, people are pretty smart. They know when they're getting propaganda instead of straight information. They know when news people set out to tell them what to think and when they are simply given the straight scoop. In other words, the news media is doing a pretty awful job of its job. Now, this is me with an opinion or two. The people in newsrooms are just people, no more impressive than a smart plumber or mechanic or electrician. They believe what they believe, and if they are strongly liberal or conservative, then they tend to believe that they are giving it to you straight when they give it to you through their lens, because they believe it to be true. If the majority of a room of journalists think the same way, then that is what gets reported as truth, because for them, it is. Trust me, I have seen this in operation. We create our own political echo chambers. An old adage informs us about this. Birds of a feather flock together. As consumers of the news, we listeners do the same thing. We tend to do it on TV, radio, and what we read. We watch and listen to the versions of the news truth that we agree with because it validates how we think. It feeds the id, which is the primal part of our personality that operates on instinct and seeks immediate gratification of basic urges and desires. That's the definition. Verification that we are right is one of those deep desires. We will do just about anything to be right. Now, about the idea that the news media is controlled by some central entity or group of people, I spent decades doing the news at both the local and the network level. I was never personally instructed how to approach a story, with what slant or what political point of view, if any, to infuse into the story. Now, here's why that doesn't happen. Because of the process of flocking and echo chambering that we talked about, the boss doesn't have to be that kind of monitor or director. The liberalizing or progressivizing, if you will, of the major media outlets has taken place over time, organically. It isn't that liberals only hire liberals. It is that liberals look for jobs in liberal newsrooms, and universities turn out reliably politically liberal graduates who then gravitate to their broadcast flock. It hasn't been a big issue in the American body politic until the last 10 years or so, maybe 15, because the government has always been gently liberal, just left of center, with notable momentary exceptions ever since the 1930s. It was easy for the press to maintain an adversarial relationship, and we'll put that in quotes, with power with the government because it happened on the edges of things. Today, well, things have changed. Politically, the left went too far for a country that sits just right of center. Fox gave conservatives a place to go to watch and a place for conservative-minded journalists to work, and the product became the biggest one of the bunch. When you hear politicians on both sides of the equation saying that we are fighting over the direction and the future of the country, they're both right. The problem is neither side wants to meet in the middle because, in short, we like our echo chambers. Quick word of advice to Democrats, by the way. If you don't want to see the government cut down a bit to more affordable size and don't want to see a bunch of pet projects and programs trimmed or even ended permanently, they better pass the bill before them that continues spending money for another several weeks at the same drunken sailor breakneck pace that they've been spending it all year. If they don't, President Trump will accomplish a lot more of his government trimming goals almost overnight. All right, change of pace. The Yankees beat Boston 4-zip last night to win their wild card series. Yay. They did it on the strong arm of pitcher Randy Schlitter, who channeled Andy Pettitte on the mound and struck out 12 Red Sox in 8 dominant innings. Schlitter grew up a Red Sox fan. There is an interesting kind of symmetry in sports stories like that. They come along from time to time. Hats off to Pepsi, which owns Cheetos and Gatorade. We don't need the artificial dyes. The FDA wants them phased out, and PepsiCo is leading the charge to change the ingredients to safe and natural. The challenge is to try to find natural dyes that keep the colors vibrant. Well, here's what Pepsi ought to know. Most of us don't care all that much about the color. If Cheetos fades to yellowish rather than vibrant fake orange, no problem. Lots of cheese is closer to yellow anyway. We will adjust, and you know what? We'll be healthier. We will. That's it for Harley on the Headlines today. Want to thank you for being there. If you're enjoying it, please take about 2 seconds to hit like, follow, subscribe. You'll be notified about what's coming up and when. I really do appreciate you checking out the cast. I'm Harley Carnes. Until next time, be well and fly safe.